Hello, and welcome to the Coffee with Demons podcast, where everyone is welcome and no one is judged. On this podcast, we will explore the minds and the demons of individuals with different backgrounds, mindsets, and missions. My hope is that you walk away stronger than ever after listening to the stories of inspiration, empathy, and intellect that the Coffee with Demons podcast has to offer. Everyone battles demons, but no one has to do it alone. Now enjoy the content and savor the coffee. All right, well, I guess we'll just get into it. So, for those of you listening and watching, this is Coffee with Demons podcast, and my guest today is Keenan Serrano. So, a little bit about Keenan. He does music pretty well, if I might say myself. Other than that, we'll get into it and we'll kind of talk about it. Do you have anything you want to say about yourself as an artist? I mean, I know there's other avenues you pursue as well.
I'm just kind of just an overall creative, just just creating things, having stuff that people can enjoy and be inspired by, even when I'm not here.
Right, I'm glad you said inspired, actually, because the one reason that I thought you'd be just perfect for this podcast is you're intelligent, you're a free thinker. You know, you don't really have bounds. You say what you want, you mean what you say. So I think all that's perfect, and you've always been an inspiration of mine. I mean, for sure. I have written down that your work ethic, determination, goal setting, like something you don't see a lot in kids our age, especially from being from Nebraska. Yeah, definitely. So. But yeah, so basically I want to ask you what you want to get out of the podcast to start out, kind of. And it could be simple. It could be, getting your name out there a little bit more to the audience that you might have, not have.
I just want to be able to maybe share a perspective that would help open somebody's eyes to being able to experience life to the fullest that they really can.
Yeah, that's perfect. So. That's exactly what this is about, and that's exactly why I brought you on here. We don't really have to have a concrete theme, but for today's theme, I just like thinking outside the box, exploring the world, realizing possibilities are endless, and getting away from being close-minded, just because, like I said, being from Nebraska, it's kind of cookie cutter out here, for sure. And I know you've lived in Nebraska, but you're also... you've traveled.
Around.
Yeah, for sure. And that's dope. I think that's awesome. So, being from Nebraska for me has definitely put a lot of obstacles in my path. As far as not being able to, as an entrepreneur even, I guess, funding is easier to get elsewhere for most business ideas, unless you have sales, unless you have that evidence back it up. Exactly, right. So and that's cool for the people who do, but for people like me who might not have that, and the conservative minded, and politics, but just being a conservative state, they need those concrete numbers. So yeah, like I said, the state's kind of sheltered as far as everything. I feel like UNL for me was kind of like a big high school, like a big North Platte.
That's pretty much what I felt like.
Just like even dropping back on a smaller scale and thinking about being from North Platte, like that's 28,000 people, and we both grew up there. So not even to be where we are today, but to be thinking like we are today, I think that's just not even being ahead of the game, but
it's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely to have an open mind. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, and I'm not gonna act like I'm fully woke or I'm aware of everything that's going on, but it just seems like the people that I run into or interact with, they're very set in their ways, and they don't like to go out there, whether that be college kids who think they need to just go to college and get that degree. And I know you started at UNL.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, What was your decision to?
So basically at that time, I had been So I had just moved out on my own.
Yeah, which
after high school.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With my older brother, and somehow we navigated that so that I could go to UNL and still live with him.
That's what's up.
And be paying rent and stuff. So I was like transitioning from really being a kid to being an adult and paying bills. So there was that. I was working at a place where I was getting paid minimum wage and taking, I'm pretty sure, 12 to 15 credits.
Yeah, like a full semester.
Yeah, and so it was like cool, except I didn't understand how to manage money or time, or you really just, I mean, it's kind of hard for you to really be living off of the wage that I was living off of.
Yeah, for sure.
And trying to actually like study and do the things that you need to do in college. So I eventually just ended up in a roommate situation. Nobody was going to school, and I realized like I was going through a time in my life like, why am I in college? Like, why am I there?
Right.
And I came to the realization that it came down to financial, like, so that I could make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Definitely.
I'm there because I'm looking for a financial gain. Like, that's what I'm there for.
Which is just, it is what it is, but, like, it's messed up that we have to, I mean, everybody, not just us, like, that's one of the first thoughts of the day. You got to make money to survive in today's world. And I thought you were grown up as hell, back then, and just to look from how you've changed from then to now is even more crazy. I mean, you're you're still doing music and you're doing it, like you're actually doing it, and you don't have that degree and you're still breathing. So that's what I think a lot of people, like, they're gonna only listen to the first 5 minutes of this. Like, you don't. Credentials are credentials, but and that the person. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't need that college degree, but it just depends on the person how hard they're willing to work. Everybody has their own journey. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And like, if you have something that doesn't necessarily need school and you're passionate about it, I think you should full force go for that thing. I think a lot of people get caught up in like expectations. I dropped a mixtape around that time that a lot of people don't know about because I was just like releasing a project just to release because I hadn't released music in however long, and ended up pulling it off of SoundCloud and all types of stuff. But just talked about like expectations that we deal with, like growing up, to go to school, go to college, get that degree, find a girl, get married, have a couple kids, have that house, have a car, and
what's it all for?
Like what? Why are we really doing this?
Exactly.
Like, I don't really know. And like when I was in UNL, I just didn't really feel like I was surrounded by people who were really thinking on the same wave as I was, as far as like really just understanding that I can do everything that I've set my mind to, and really like I don't really need to go to college to be successful and to make money, even though that's what I'm in college for, to make money. There's people who make money and never went to college. So at that point I stopped going. I dropped out of college.
Yeah, and I mean the term dropout in itself kind of has a bad stigma behind it, but I just wished, and hopefully that people know you a little bit better after this podcast, but what you've done and what you're continuing to do is nothing, less of outstanding, just because the kids that are going to class, they go to class, they get that degree, they have a job lined up, they go to work, make that paycheck. Yeah, that's cool, and that's how some people live, and once they get home, they're just fine with chilling, and it is what it is. Everyone's different, but to me, I've kind of felt the same way my first year of college, like not going back from the start of my sophomore year. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, didn't really have a pull towards anything, and it was just taking money out of my pocket. So the only reason that I decided to go back was because I didn't feel super passionate about anything, and I just having that degree.
Might as well.
Yeah, exactly. So majoring in psychology definitely opened up some avenues for me, and but to me, my whole thing is, I don't know, I feel like I'm here for a purpose, and I don't know what that is.
Absolutely.
I don't know what that is, but that mystery of your existence is always something that I've just been dumbfounded by. I guess I just don't know why I'm here, but I know I'm here for a reason, and it's not to just, go make that check and then
just breathe and make money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to be happy, progress, and progress humanity in the slightest form I can, even if it's like minimal, but also impact others' lives. Yeah. So, but before we get into like that pretty deeply, I just kind of wanted to talk about how pursuing music for you was just different due to the fact that we're in Nebraska. I mean, that had to be crazy.
I mean, like, people, like you said, it's really like a conservative mindset. So that's how they approach pretty much everything. It's very conservative. They're not looking for new things. They're not looking for new music, and it's not a place where you would commonly look for hip hop music, first of all, or black people, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely you go outside in Nebraska, and most people are just culture shocked because there isn't that diverse population here, and I think that's something that a lot of people are small-minded about, and almost, like I said, gets set in their ways so much that that new experience to them is they not shut it out, but don't really want to fall into it.
It's not comfortable.
Right, not comfortable. Like, that's perfect. Yeah.
But I think a lot of like it's just like, I don't know, it's hard making music here and starting out here. There's resources, but there's a few resources, and they're like, you need to have money. And so when I was in high school, I didn't have money, so I mean, some of the resources I could use, I guess, recording wise, but I mean, nobody's looking for music here, and nobody from outside of here is looking here for music. So
yeah, that's
it's definitely been a weird thing. But I also do feel like I've been able to do things like have my own studio and grow and really shape my craft here, which I know a lot of people I know in the city, they don't necessarily have their own studio where they can set up and be mixing and recording their own songs and this and that. So I'm like, there are some things that have been cool about being from here, and just like understanding what people who might not know what's going on in the rest of the world are thinking. Right. Because I feel like everything really gets here last, like trends, music, anything, news, like starts on the coast, then comes here.
Yeah, inward is. Yeah, we're definitely like one of the last people to get it.
So it's like people really they really experience culture and a lot of different things all from what they see on social media or what they see
and
on this or that.
Yeah, and social media to me nowadays it's so crazy fake. Yeah. People, and it's always greener. It's always greener on social media.
Right.
People are always. No one's posting about being sad. No one's posting about how much they're hurting or what's going wrong. It's only the good in your life, and I think a lot of people are faking that. And I mean, it like I said, it is what it is, and you got to do what you got to do. But that false image is just not like, it might not be hurting them, but people seeing that, and that's stuff you can't control either. Yeah. But I definitely think social media is so skewed in what it portrays, and
it can definitely mess up with people's perception of reality and what's really going on. For me, like with music, like looking at all these rappers who have these hundreds of thousands of likes and followers, which a lot of them are fake, really fake. But it's all about the character that they're putting out, and they're wearing big chains and they have these cars, but in reality you're understanding that the label's paying for all that stuff and they're renting that stuff. Some of them really have it, but that's making people who aren't doing that stuff seem like they're not legit. So like when you have somebody who's just a genuine person doing music, and they might make rap music, they're not maybe considered a rapper the same way as somebody with all these chains and a grill and
Right.
face
I mean,
tattoos.
like, everybody on this earth, you say rapper, and like this person with money who
Right.
has, the chains. I mean, that image
Right.
just pops into your head.
Right.
So, and I commend you for even doing music, just because that industry is so, it is so cutthroat.
It
just
is.
like that, you gotta have connections. You gotta know people, and
Consistency.
yeah, exactly. And for you to be able to put out the content you have and make music from Nebraska, to me, that's just, it says something about how like hard you're willing to work, and kind of going back to the just go get a paycheck, go to school kind of thing. I don't think those people lack motivation, because it's definitely, it's definitely hard to go to school, make that money, work every day. But I definitely think there are people that, I think everyone has a genius inside them, whether
Right.
that be, for rap,
Right.
writing, art, whatever that may be. And a lot of people, what stops them from finding that medium that they can express themselves through? Is it
Right.
fear? And to me, I think a lot of it is fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've done a great job of, overcoming what fears you may have. And that's actually something that I, kind of wrote down, is like to do what to pursue something that you don't know what you're going to get in return, to me is like so scary. And even being an entrepreneur, and that's what I think a lot of people look for, is that closure, or that, that safety net of having a job and whatnot. And,
Right.
not knowing when that next paycheck is going to come, but also, like in your case, putting in those hours and knowing you're getting that paycheck, but also pursuing your passion. Like,
Right.
that's exactly what, I mean, that's living, I guess.
Yeah.
You gotta feel every emotion.
Yeah, it's
So-
a really interesting phase when you're starting out too, because you're not getting that money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
That you're putting in a lot of hours. I mean, they say, you put in 10,000 hours and you're a master at what you do. The 10,000 hour theory. The Beatles were said to have performed 10,000 hours by the time they blew up, pretty much, because they had been performing in Hamburg, Germany, like crazy set times, 8-hour sets, like just crazy,
Man,
performing all the time.
that's wild.
I read about it in some book, but I think I'm definitely on the second half, like almost to 10,000 hours of singing, rapping, recording, all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably around like 7,000 hours, 8,000.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
that's-
like I'm just trying to keep doing what I do and just keep getting better. But I think everybody should definitely take time on themselves to find something they're passionate about. I think social media and like our phones, we have a lot of distractions in this world.
For sure.
Those things, I think, distract us from actually knowing who we really are, and not just a reaction of what other people are doing and how we feel about it. Just having your own mind and your own experiences. I think that's a really big deal when it comes to finding yourself and finding what you're passionate about.
Definitely, yeah.
Because, some of the downfalls, like, for instance, I knew I liked music, but when I got injured and couldn't play sports anymore, I had time, and so I invested in myself. I wasn't sure just how much I liked it. I thought it was fun, but then I got to a point where I love it, and it's something that I really am passionate about, and I just took the jump. Really, it's just taking risks. If you don't take a risk, then you're never gonna really get anywhere.
That's just, and like I said, conquering fears like that. And, and I hate to stand or sit up here and like call, not call people out specifically, but say if you don't do something that you love, like you're afraid, because that's definitely not the case at all. But at the end of the day, if I think a lot of people go to bed unhappy, and I think that void could be filled with art of any kind, or just loving through, you know, their passion, their family, and
Right.
it's just, yeah, I don't it's hard to explain. It's hard to even put into words. So
Yeah.
but that's kind of,
I think one of the biggest things that holds people back from actually finding what they love and what they want to do, or maybe they know what they want to do, and it's the biggest thing holding them back from actually doing that thing, is complacency.
mm-hmm.
Just the idea of being completely satisfied with everything that's going on. Like, there's a fine line between like self-love and loving yourself and loving your life and loving what you have, and complacency. Like, complacency can be like pretty dangerous if we're talking about like safety. For instance, if I think my school is safe, I don't need any, or I think, let's say I want to throw a party and I think it's cool, I'm inviting cool people, I don't need security. And that would be complacency of
Right.
safety right there. And if something happens, well, I wasn't even really thinking about that or aware of it because I was comfortable where I'm at.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, complacency and being comfortable is the downfall of, you know, a lot of people. And for me, you know, I read a lot of books that, or a lot of the motivational sayings, books, quotes, whatever
Right.
you read. It's a lot about, you know, don't get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. And I think that's perfect, and I think that applies to almost every job, sports, you know, music. I don't
Right.
think you need to be comfortable with where you're at. And I think, I'm not saying humanity is so far along that we can't progress any farther, because we definitely are, but I think a lot of people almost think like that. Like, there's no more out there to discover. There's nothing out there to do.
Right.
But there's problems to fix, and I think people could, you know, look at that, like, help. That's what I, with mental health and, you know, mental illnesses, I think you don't have to be downright crazy or to have issues. I think everybody gets sad, and I
Right.
think, you know, that's kind of the gap that I'm trying to fill, is
Yeah.
making sure that people know they're not alone.
Not
Everyone's
alone.
fighting those demons.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's normal. It's
Very
not a
real.
fun part of life, but it's definitely a part of life.
Right.
So
Yeah. Like you said, people don't advertise that stuff on social media.
exactly.
But it's definitely happening in everything, especially entrepreneurs, artists, really anybody taking risks. It's like a lot of pressure, and it can get to people sometimes, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's gotten to me a few times, just like that pressure just went to like, you just freeze and
So
you don't do anything.
So where does that, I mean, when that resistance hits, like, what gets you through it? There's got to be something.
It's honestly, it's just realizing that if I don't do something that I'm trying to do, well, then there's 100% chance that thing's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's actually awesome.
Whereas the other thing, on the other hand, if I try, I may or may not make it happen. But I tried, and I know that if you try, I'll probably learn some things through trying.
Definitely.
So that's where you learn, trial and
Yeah,
error.
yeah.
So,
You either win or you learn, and
right.
I think failure is definitely feared in our society a ton. I feel failure. I do. I mean, if I didn't, I'd be trying way more things. But this is kind of my, you know, facing my demons. It's just getting up in front of people, talking, and trying to pursue
yeah.
something that.
Got to
you know,
start.
Yeah, exactly. You got to start somewhere, and I think that a lot of that could be emphasized more in everyone's life. You don't have to be an expert to start something. Like, everyone, even I'm not gonna remember the quote, but basically, like, you know, even Beethoven, like, had to learn to play or learn to write music, and
Right.
you're not just. I mean, people are definitely gifted naturally, whether it be with the way their brain works and their intelligence, or how their body works, and they're, you know, good at sports. But yeah, like I said, no one's no one is that pro right off the bat.
Right.
So
it's like definitely takes you gotta what did I say? There I had a rap one time. No, I still have it obviously, but oh my gosh. How can I not remember this? I'm so mad right now.
look it up. We ain't got we got time.
Gotta look it up. Wow. It's one, like I said, it's one thing to be gifted and another thing to be skilled and know how to work with what you've been given.
Yeah, for sure. Like and a lot of people think that that's awesome, because a lot of people think that just because they're not, you got to work with what you're given. Like you got to work to your strengths. You got to work to your talents. And
right. That's what I've learned in Nebraska. Yeah, it's doable. You just have to work with what you've been given.
Definitely.
And
it might be a little bit harder,
right,
than some like other people in their different avenues.
Right.
But
and if you can get out of the place and get out of this place,
hey man,
go travel. It's really like a lot of people tell me they can't travel for this or that, and maybe you can't. But I know a lot of people who also spend money on stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be spent on that, and you could easily save up pretty fast to go on a trip and go explore and see the world, see something different. And I feel like everywhere we go, everywhere you travel, you get like a new perspective. That's how I feel, at least. Like, I have the travel bug, so everywhere I go, I feel like I'm meeting a new part of myself almost. Like, wow, like I grew up going to New York, and that was like really cool because being in North Platte, that's never had more than 1% of black people.
Yeah, that's
never.
wild. That's wild.
All
right, sorry not to cut you off, but we're gonna take a little break so the cameras can shutter, and then we'll get right back on it. You are listening to the Coffee with Demons podcast, but CWD isn't just a podcast. It's a human collective focused on issues surrounding mental stability, healing, and battling your inner demons. Our mission is to provide new, alternative, and easy-to-access mental health help for those stuck in life's dark times. CWD is a hub where everyone is welcome and no one is judged. Check us out at www.coffeewithdemons.com. So to hop right back into where we were leading off with, you were talking about just your traveling and how that has kind of opened your mind to a lot of things. And I actually had a question just about like how has traveling made you more empathetic, or not even empathetic, but more aware of societal issues, problems, or just maybe not issues in everyone's face, just the differences around where you go. Because like you said, you grew up in North Platte, but you also have lived in New York a ton, or traveled, been there lived.
Yeah, stayed there, and just like I think things that might be talked about that we don't necessarily see with our eyes here. I mean, we see homelessness kind of, but not on the same scale at all as like LA or New York. Like
villages.
People who are like actually really homeless and cannot get resources, and like don't even have coats, and their shirts are torn, and it's cold, it's freezing out, and they have flip-flops, and you can smell them halfway down the block. Like real homelessness that's like really out in there in your face, you can't filter it, it's just like right there. Or just like, I think it's really made me see how beautiful other cultures are, and just like at the end of the day, it really comes down to just understanding different cultures and different things that are going on around you.
Definitely.
And I think the difference between like New York and Nebraska is we might have a diverse set of cultures, kind of, that's like diverse, but it's like a few of these from this culture, and they're honestly not even practicing their culture in front of you. They're going home and practicing their culture, so that culture is being practiced inside in the house in a car, and you're driving next to them, but you're not actually experiencing their culture.
Definitely.
You're just seeing them.
The face value, or what someone would get, like if you just took Lincoln, Nebraska at the face value, you just drive through, you just walk through UNL's campus, you go to the mall. I mean, they're going to be, it's definitely going to be different than I think what people feel comfortable with sharing, just
Right.
due to the fact that we are in Nebraska and things are different here. Because I can't stress enough how even my few traveling experiences to different parts of the country and then to New Zealand has, I mean, different types of people everywhere.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's just, and, you know, I don't think Nebraska is a bad place by any means, but I
Mhm.
definitely think people need to get out and understand there's more out there
yeah.
before they come back and,
Right.
you know, just stay stuck in the mud kind of thing.
Right. And I think really that goes for anybody, not even just in Nebraska. Anybody
Right.
who's living anywhere, like, it's great to get out of the place you're from
For
and
sure.
what you've been cultured to and what you've understood your whole life.
Right.
Because if, yeah, I don't know. There's just things you won't, you're just not going to know about. Like, for instance, it's been really weird being, not even weird, but it's just like being black in Nebraska is interesting. It's interesting because it's just like people don't experience black culture unless it's like through hip hop, and then they think that like you should be stereotypically
Right, exactly.
black or whatever, and that goes with any other culture too. It's like what I've seen is what you should be or what you are probably. It's like, oh, so I can't be smart.
Well,
And yeah,
yeah,
like,
well, sorry to kind of cut you off, but
You're
that's
good.
something that just kind of, you know, lights a fire inside of me as I see people, and I have no idea, I've never experienced it, but I do see it, and it's that you're an intelligent dude, and you speak fluently, and then they don't hold that over your head, but I've heard multiple times, like, you talk white, and I've
Yeah.
even seen you kind of talk about that,
yeah,
and that's just people being like stigmatizing
right,
a whole culture to
right.
a stereotype, and I just
Right.
don't think that's, if you get out into the world
Right.
and like learn for yourself before you kind of start like
Yeah.
taking that viewpoint.
I always say, like, when people say things like that to me, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do to be more black?
Like, yeah,
What else can I do?
well, and if you probably ask someone in Nebraska who had an experience, they'd probably have some choice answers
Yeah,
to
they
give
would.
back to you,
Some
which is
pretty bold answers a
yeah.
lot of times. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is what you're
Exactly.
thinking.
Is that your
But it's like, okay, it's not, I'm a very understanding person. Like, I don't really get, I mean, I grew up, like I said, in North Platte, and it's just like, it's like being constantly on, what was that show?
what on?
Gosh, it's on MTV, and there's a bunch of seasons, and a bunch of people would move into a house. What I'm talking about?
Jersey Shore?
No,
I
not
have
Jersey
no
Shore.
idea.
Real World. It's like a season
Real
of Real
World.
World, and I'm like that one black guy. And it's just
Yeah,
like
that's-
your whole life. It's that season, and you're just like, all right, I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy,
Right.
but I don't know. You have to just learn to be like, don't take things personal. But
I think that comes up with a level of intelligence, or just like, you know,
Yeah.
being more aware, is
yeah,
knowing that other people's feelings or what they might say is,
right.
it's on them. Like that's
Yeah.
something that definitely not a personal thing to
Right.
people, but
I think going to New York, I've been able to see, like, on a larger scale, like, black people who are doing different things. There's black people who are doing stereotypical things, and then there's black people who are doing professional things, and it's great to be able to see, like, you don't have to just be an entertainer or an athlete as a black person
Definitely.
to, like, succeed. It's cool seeing people who are of all different races succeeding and, like, chasing dreams and doing things that maybe the generations before them could only imagine that they could do for themselves.
definitely. And like you said, it's not just from Nebraska where people should get out and experience, other parts of the world, the nation. But I do think it is harder for people in Nebraska if they stay here. Like, for example, if you, and I've never been to New York, but I'm going to take, this is a,
This song, bro.
this, I want to go, I'm coming, for sure. But it'd be easier, or you'd be better off to stay in New York, or live in New York and stay in New York, than you would be to live in Lincoln and stay in Lincoln. Because I feel like even though it's still one place, it's much more diverse. It's got different communities, it's got different types of people.
Right.
Sure.
And I think it really comes down to your lifestyle, what you like to do. Because I mean, Nebraska works for a lot of people, but I think it's a place for like settling down. It's a place for like, if you have a family and you're trying to slow down with life and just settle somewhere, I guess it's cool for that. But honestly, I'd still say go somewhere else, because you could definitely get a lot more culture and a lot more activities. There's just a lot more. There's a lot of stuff out there. It's a big world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big world. It's a lot bigger than we think, but also it's small at the same time. So I don't know. It's like, it's a big world, but it's also a small world, because we're all connected.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people need to understand that, like, that fact as well. Like, we're all in this together,
right?
Kind of thing. I think that's something that we've gotten away from, and you could even think back to more like primal times when you had to wake up, find food, find shelter, and the people you were with were on that same page. And now that everyone has, or most people have that not provided for them, but it's more accessible, they're looking at the next person as competition rather than someone who might be able to help you. And even male or female, I feel like at this age, and I have great friends, and I would never dog on them or anything, but there needs to be more of this, I'm gonna help you, you help me, not like we're in competition in what I do. I'm trying to do it better than you. Like, always have that competitive mindset to try and be like, not be the best, but do what you're doing the best you can, but help the guy next to you.
Because you never know. Like,
yeah, exactly.
For instance, like, there's a lot of people who I help as far as recording, like, getting their music done, because I've never really been one to like promote that I record and edit people's music, mix their stuff, just because I could have a lot of people's stuff and do that, but I have my own stuff to do.
Right.
I have a lot of stuff to do. So if I'm working on your stuff, I'm trying to see you succeed. I want to see you succeed, and everybody I work with, I want you guys to succeed, because if you succeed, we all succeed.
Right, exactly. Like,
everybody, a lot of people think of, they're almost like insecure if you're not okay with helping the person next to you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this every man for themselves kind of mindset is just sunk into people. And I don't think it's necessarily, it's not just like a generational thing, like it pops into your head. It's definitely taught, it's passed down. It's the way not humans overall have become, but it's just how people are raised, kind of thing, and everyone's raised differently and whatnot. But so I kind of want to hear about, or I want you to be able to tell people, because I know, but just explain Simply Dope. Explain your message behind it, and what your goals are for Simply Dope.
Okay.
What it is. And
Simply Dope is a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It's the idea of you have everything that it takes to succeed, because it all starts with your mind and the way you think. I think we all have something that makes us unique and makes us simply dope, and it's up to us to find that thing, and understanding that perfection does exist is how I feel personally. I feel like perfection is when you are living out your purpose and you're doing the things that are aligned with your purpose. I think that's where you can find perfection. But I just feel like with Simply Dope, it's really just understand that you're dope and you have what it takes to succeed, and start there. And sometimes you might not know where to go, but just go.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
always keep moving, kind of thing.
Right. It's you're your own person, and you're destined to be great.
Right, and I think that's awesome. That's that's right along the lines of my everyday thinking, and I just think more people should think like that. So props to you on trying to live that out and trying to help other people live that out as well.
Absolutely.
But so to me, when I hear you say that everyone has a purpose, and kind of I know it's hard to find that purpose for sure. I'm still looking for mine and whatnot, and somebody might not ever know, but like you said, you got to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that we'll just move past it because I can't even remember it, but it just basically, your mind is this is what it was. So you said that something about your mind, the way you think, and I just think your mind is so powerful and
super powerful.
Like you're almost, I don't know, you literally create your own world, right? Like around you. Yes. So if you want to be that, you're superhuman, I guess, to an extent of you can do what you want if you put your mind to it. You can think the way you want. Your thoughts might be hard at times, and this is kind of where I struggled with, depression or anxiety and whatnot. And it's hard when everything around you seems like it should be okay, but for some reason, whether, because humans are, our body's complex, our mind's complex, and if those chemicals aren't there, that it kind of, that doesn't seem right that everything around you is okay, but your mind's not. But then again, people have to realize that, and like I said, I'm still fighting these demons, but just to understand that you have the power to change your thoughts, and like I said, you're not alone, and there's avenues to take, and you just gotta think. I mean, not just think, because it's definitely not as simple as that, but. No. So, what was one major demon that has kind of popped up in your life, or been a big resistance for your work that you not almost stopped because, but that almost still pops up in your everyday life that you just kind of have to deal with it as it comes, I guess? Or do you have one?
I would say hesitation.
Yeah,
hesitation.
This book I actually have right here. So it's called The War of Art. But basically it talks about that genius that's inside of everybody. And it's just fighting resistance, fighting that hesitation, and whether that hesitation, resistance come in the form of, drugs, alcohol, sex, procrastination. Yeah,
that's another one.
It's, I think whatever, and this book's great for any person who, is an artist in any shape or form. It's just fighting that resistance with, sitting down and doing your work. Whatever you feel, and this was kind of one of the things that I really took away from the book, is it talked about whatever you feel the most resistance against is kind of like your soul's calling. So to me, I know I love to write. I know I love writing, but for me to sit down and write is actually the hardest part of it. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just overcoming those fears and figuring that if I might as well be doing something.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I think that hesitation can really stop you from really doing great things, or and that goes with everything in life. I think here's a great example. I was at a Brooklyn hip hop festival, the 10th anniversary Brooklyn hip hop festival, and it was Jay Electronica. Common was headlining. I don't know who else. I don't know. A lot of people don't even know who Jay Electronica is. He had a verse with Kendrick.
I know who Jay Electronica is. Yeah.
Some people don't know, but
for sure.
Get
Nebraska,
right? He said basically get to come early. We got a special surprise. So I was like, cool, that's cool. All right, so we get there and he starts bringing people out like out of nowhere. Like he brings out like Mac Miller. Where everybody's like, what? And it was just like crazy. And God rest his soul, but he definitely forgot his verse. And it was like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But then he brought out like Talib Kweli, and then he brought out J. Cole, and then he brought out Jay-Z.
Oh,
None of these people were supposed to be at this show. This was supposed to be a little like, I mean, it was the 10th annual Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, but like people have been sleeping on the festival.
Right, yeah.
And they really did that up. And there's a VIP line. There's like a gate in between the general admission and the VIP back there or whatever. And I ended up meeting Mac Miller that day. That was cool.
Oh, crazy, yeah.
Didn't get a picture because people started to like mob. It was weird. But like, that was cool. But basically these 3 kids, I don't know. I don't know. There's like 2 kids. They had glasses and like jerseys on, and they're by this gate, and I'm standing right next to them, and it's like the street barriers that you can like lift up and unlatch or whatever.
Like movie theaters stuff.
Like no, more like the steel ones that like still like big.
Oh right.
Things
like
that hook together though,
right.
And you can hook together and make like a fence. And like they basically, the security was having a meeting. I don't know what they were doing. They were dumb. They're all in the same spot, and these kids lift up the gate and like push it open and walk in. And I was like, like what? And then I was like hesitated for a moment and went to go, and this other kid decided to go right when I went. He got caught, and I didn't even go in because I would have got caught. Because the security finally caught on. But the other 2 kids taking selfies with Jay-Z and J. Cole, and you're watching them do it. I was like, yo, like, you cannot be hesitating out here. Your moment will come and go.
Capture
and it does not care about you.
And that's it's like maybe, so here I'm going to try to explain this, I guess, the best I can. But capturing those moments or seizing that opportunity for some people, and for myself especially, just seems so hard. Like now that I'm getting older and I've been through just more years of my life, I guess I kind of look for opportunity more than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's passed me by a lot in the past, and
absolutely,
I'm not going to sit and dwell on it by any means, but it just makes me more aware that I've learned something. I got to be on the lookout for anything. I mean, even just
you never know.
Like
you really
stuff
never
like
know.
That for sure. We got a couple minutes on this segment, but so, and we've kind of already hit on this a while, but for the Mac Miller thing, and the article that I actually have here is just about musicians, and it says 70% of musicians say they have suffered from anxiety or depression. What's next? And Mac Miller, and that's definitely, I don't think all due to just being a musician, but the level of pressure that he was from at that, being that famous and whatnot, but how he did pass away, from the ODing thing, and everyone has issues, and they put on a face, like people put on fake faces for social media. But I was just going to ask you if music has created any strong, I don't know, any angst feelings that you might not have got if you weren't doing music. And I know that could be said for any art form, but for music especially, I know that, there's so much to it, starting from like writing to production to finishing that full song, what gets you through the full thing. And if it's harder at the finish, how do you get through it?
I would say for me personally, since I've been making music for a while, like making the music is not hard. I love making music and I make it by myself, so it's not like anybody's really judging me or anything.
Right.
You record it, get it sound how you like it, and it sounds great. And then it comes to releasing. And releasing, I think, is like probably, that's one of the biggest things that's possibly like really gave me anxiety and stuff, in the thoughts of like regret, I guess. Since I've been rapping since like middle school.
Right.
But like I took it serious. 2011 is when I started taking it serious. But I didn't really release. I didn't have the tools to release until like my junior year in like 2013, 14, and then I don't know. I never really released like a lot of music that I made in it, like
Out of fear
and like perfectionist, and I didn't know what I was doing all the way, mixing and editing. Like it didn't sound like it needed to. Like now I probably could go back and make a lot of them sound 10 times better because I know kind of what's going on here. But I just didn't release, and it was just kind of selfish. I didn't think about it at the time, but I just kind of forgot about these songs when they really could be like changing somebody's life,
right.
And not doing that is giving me like some anxiety. So I'm like, dang, there's like half of my message and half of who I am in my journey that might never get seen. And that's like crazy thought, and like the idea that like each one of these songs that you make can really impact somebody's life. So,
and I think that's so awesome that you have that mindset, is because most people aren't making stuff for that purpose, or even for themselves. They're making it, to get that, that
check. They think
that check
that they think is there,
right?
Because really, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to really be making a lot of money from music. I think people think that, you make one song and you blow up and that's how it goes and you make millions of dollars. Like, maybe that is how it goes, I guess, but you need to have some things in line.
Yeah,
or else you're just going to be somebody who got famous and didn't get paid.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think why I respect musicians so much, is because you have these people that are in... If the lay person doesn't know how much time and work it takes to, maybe produce a full album, and then when you have someone drop one song or just one album, that kind of blows up. And I kind of think about Bryson Tiller, just because like his shit blew up, and and then it's like, now it's been like, where's Bryson Tiller kind of thing,
right?
So
that's pressure,
and that exactly, and maybe that's what he wanted to do, was just like, maybe he got that check and then he's cut and done. But I think that's different from someone like you, who has this passion to be aware that you might not be helping everybody that listens, but if you're just helping one person, like,
right,
that's a win,
right?
And that, for that purpose, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And
that's kind of even why I started to write my blog, was just so if one person read it and took one good thing from it, I was like, yeah, that's a
life
win.
in your
Exactly.
words type thing.
Exactly. So I think that's awesome.
I think
good answer, A+ answer.
Going back to what you said about you're talking about people who like create their own reality. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a big believer in that. I believe in like the law of attraction. I believe that like the things that you think about most, you will make them happen or appear in your life. That's happened in the last couple of years, I guess. I've been having that kind of mindset, but there's been a few things that have definitely pushed me to believe those things. For instance, in 2018, I threw a show at the Bourbon on January 31st, and it was really cool, and it was awesome. I don't know. It was probably the first time that I made like more than $500 in one performance type thing, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then time went on, and I kept thinking, like, you know what, like, throwing my own show is cool. I also want to open up for people because they have crowds that are already there. So I was like, wow, I was thinking Jaquise, he sold out last time he came. So I want to, and next time he comes here, I think I want to open up for him.
We'll hold your thoughts right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to have to break that. You are listening to the Coffee with Demons podcast, but CWD isn't just a podcast. It's a human collective focused on issues surrounding mental stability, healing, and battling your inner demons. Our mission is to provide new, alternative, and easy-to-access mental health help for those stuck in life's dark times. CWD is a hub where everyone is welcome and no one is judged. Check us out at www.coffeewithdemons.com. Back into the what you were saying.
So yeah, like I was saying, I was like, next time he comes to Lincoln, you know, I want to open up for him because last time he sold out, and I'm like, that's probably the crowd that I need to be in front of, that I really want to like show my music to and be exposed to. And at this point, there was no Guethlein show coming near, and I was like, okay, whatever, that's a cool idea. I told my friends at the time, whatever.
So you were like, you went to this show and you were straight up like, damn, that'd be cool if I opened up for this guy, but you had no idea he was coming back. I didn't even
go to the show. I just happened to remember when he came.
It sold out.
It sold out, and all types of people were reposting like his show. They had been there, and it was tight, and everybody was just posting videos from the show. I remember that, and then I threw my own show January 31st at the Bourbon. 5 months later, probably, I decide, you know, that random idea, you know, I want to open up for Guethlein when he comes here. He didn't even have a show. Then a few months later, they announced a show. He's coming. And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I'm going to hit up the Bourbon right away and let me see if I can find who's bringing him here and contact them. So I do that, write out this professional email. It's super tight. And I'm like, bet. All right, we might actually make this happen. And I don't hear back. I don't hear back anything. And it's my birthday now. It is like January 17th. It was like the 15th. I was in Vegas. And the show's on the 31st, which is exactly a year from the show that I had thrown at the Bourbon.
Oh, that's what's up.
And I, at this point, I'm like, dude, it's like 2 weeks before the show. Like, I'm not gonna be in it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I am. I didn't really think I wasn't gonna be in it. I was just like, I don't know. That'd be cool if I was.
Right. That's
all I kept thinking was it'd be cool if I was, because you know, in the law of attraction it says the universe is gonna take whatever you say you want. It doesn't care about what you don't want. It's like, I want to open up for Guethlein.
Hell yeah.
I don't not want to open up. You know, like, I don't want to miss this. Like, it doesn't listen to that. So. But then he called me on like the 15th and was like, hey, buddy, so I guess you're going to be on the show. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I literally talked about this. I believed that I was going to, and didn't happen. And I mean, maybe that's not the law of attraction, but it seems like something that I definitely brought into my life because of decisions that I made from the way I was thinking about certain situations.
See, and that's for the people who can't get behind this idea that, you know, you can bring into existence whatever you think about, if you think about it hard enough. If you can't get behind that and what, like, kind of what you were saying just about the law of attraction, they can get behind the fact that you wanted to do that and you went out and you made the moves to make that happen, or put yourself in that position to make that possible. And I think, you know, this whole time we've been talking about this kind of thing. Like I said, I look up to you. It's crazy how much like work you put in, and you're out there and you're seizing those opportunities and you're looking to make those moves where a lot of kids are complacent. They're comfortable. They're fine with their life, and it is what it is. But always look to grow, and I think that you're a perfect example of that, just because you have been, you know, seizing opportunities, not only like shows and things, but just taking note of, oh, yo, that sold out. Like, that'd be a good opportunity. Most people wouldn't even put two and two together. So
yeah, for
sure, that's crazy. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about is, you know, we've already kind of hit on it already, but my goal with Coffee with Demons is always to, you know, better someone's life. And like you've said that as well. And a lot of people maybe in the music industry don't have that goal. Some do, or maybe a lot more do than I think, and they just don't speak on it. But
Right.
for you, I know you, like, you live that, and I see it on your social media, and I think that's great that you are the person that you portray you are, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's that driving aspect for you behind, if you can't, changing the world takes, one person can definitely make a change, but that's a big goal. So
Right.
I guess what's that driving aspect for you to, take those steps to, even if it's a long process? Big, it's just, I can't even, big question there.
Yeah, there's a big question.
So take your time.
That's a really good question.
Or I guess we'll start with this. Why you? What's different? What do you bring to the table that somebody might not? Or what's your edge? Or how do you go about things that other people, might not look for, might not look at?
I don't think that I'm really any better fit for or anything like that. But I
you
do feel
things differently.
Right. I think I'm just blessed with the ability to have a different perspective and see things differently and have more understanding, so it's not like so that I understand that it's not just like there's a reason for things. Things
Right.
all have a reason. So when trying to change the world, understanding why certain things are the way they are is a really big deal. And I feel like one of the biggest things that drives me to try to change the world and the world around me especially is just like maybe seeing different things that are possible and seeing how people can coexist, how things can be beautiful, how certain things that people might think are weird here can actually be really cool things in bigger cities or anywhere. And that, like, if you people who find themselves and love themselves or try or do I don't know, they do work with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it seems easier for those people to coexist with different people.
Definitely.
So it's like finding out who you are and understanding that it's okay that different people are different. Because I will say one thing, yes, we're all the same, but no, we're also not all the same whatsoever, because everybody has different culture and different things offend different people and different things excite different people. We're different, and accepting our differences and understanding that our differences are what makes us beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. And I think one thing that I would say that I'm good at, or not good at, but that I've came to grips with almost, is the fact that I know that others might not like what I'm doing, but if this is my only time on this planet and love is the reason, then I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to do what I love. And if people don't like that, then that's on them. And I think it just didn't happen overnight for me. And it's, but I do think I have a good grip on knowing who I am and knowing that just because I'm different than the next doesn't mean that's a bad thing.
Right.
So, one
great.
second. But yeah, so like I was saying, it's just kind of, if people can even just work to get to that or understand, and it might just be like little by little, and it could start with as low as like on the tier of like clothing. Like you see someone out wearing something different, and you might not wear it, you might not like it in that sense, but they're weird. Like, just deal with it. Like, it's not on you. That's not.
Appreciate it from a distance. I don't know.
Exactly.
Appreciate that person made a decision to wear their own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. My little sister, Kaden, she's like 10 or 11, something like that. But she has a very interesting clothing choice when she wears clothes. Like, picks out her clothes, she wears whatever and just makes it happen. And it's just like, okay, that's tight. Like, you could do that. I can't even, like, I don't even know if I'd be comfortable putting these two things together. But that's what you want to wear,
right? And if it makes you happy,
perfectly you,
right?
That's
Why
what
not?
makes you.
Exactly.
So that's great.
And I think self-expression through any form is just great. You do music. I like to write, but I mean, it just doesn't stop at like what the normal like arts are.
Right.
I think people can just do whatever, and if they want to do it, then
whatever makes you feel something. I
right,
mean,
exactly.
Anything that makes you feel something doesn't have to be regular art. It could be walking dogs.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
If
something
that's
like
your passion. That's something
people
might,
people might laugh at that, but for real, like if it is that, it is what it is, and that's
right.
That's the reality, and you only got one life, so you might as well be happy. You might as well do whatever you want.
You have the choice,
right? So, but that's perfect. Is it all good?
Yeah, you're good.
Is the memory card full? Is that one rolling? Dope. All right, so yeah, but well, to give another little nudge for the conversation, just like I said, you're definitely different from artists with and I know all music is different, but even rap. You want to talk about, I guess what your decision is, or not even your decision, but I know you don't cuss a lot in your raps.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about that kind of?
Yeah, it really originally just started out like that because my grandma, my mom, and like different people would be listening to it when I was young. So I would make it clean. And then as I got a little older, I was thinking about, this could be radio ready. But really, it was just like forcing myself to say something, because it's really easy to just insert explicitives and not say anything.
Right, exactly.
But now I'm to the point where I don't really care. There's definitely some music with some explicit content in it that I have now, but it's more tasteful. It's not just like
filler words.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to portray an emotion. I'm trying to like actually get you to feel what I'm saying, and everything is strategically placed. But
that makes, and to me, I'm not a hip hop major by any means, so, but I can definitely tell when that they're just screaming about they're rhyming an explicit word with the same explicit word, and it's kind of, it just doesn't have depth to it, and which I think your raps definitely do, and the meaning behind it is definitely a lot deeper than most, I guess.
I feel like rap nowadays, I mean, there's definitely a lot of good stuff out there. You just have to go find it for sure. A lot of stuff that's being promoted is like it doesn't really have that much content. It's really all talking about the same stuff. There's a lot of mainstream hip hop that's really just violent, and that's just it. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's a rapper has to be violent. Everybody who is a rapper has to have a gun and be ready to shoot somebody.
Right.
And have chains and smoke weed and backwards, preferably.
Do all.
That's what they say. Like
drink clean, do whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
It was like I just wanted to be different. I mean, not even wanted to be different. I am different. I mean, I'm just myself.
Right.
And that's not necessarily who I wanted to be portrayed as. And I also wanted to give like people who are maybe non-fans of hip hop a chance to love hip hop and love rap, and people who are fans of hip hop, just something different to listen to. Definitely. So that you can be something refreshing. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, refreshing for sure. I mean, it's just like it's a breath of fresh air, just because you get the same stuff that a lot of people would associate with rap or hip hop is stuff that is not played to them. Like, they don't go out and look for it. Like you said, like you've been in New York and have had those experiences with, like, you may see like lower key artists,
right,
and they might be just as good, but they're not. It's not relevant, or I shouldn't say it's not relevant. That's so that cut that. But basically, it's not popular. It's not mainstream, right? It doesn't fit the status quo.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who listen to hip hop don't necessarily. Well, first of all, I think I should address. I think a lot of rap and hip hop that is out nowadays is not necessarily that. It's not necessarily rap. It's almost like a new genre.
It's
And
it's like
it's
this
not
simple,
yeah
aggressive.
yeah, and it's like it's almost a certain vibe. It's not necessarily like the skill of rapping. A lot of people who are coming out don't necessarily have like a crazy
Right.
skill with rapping. It's about making melodies and
Beats that
that go
catch,
crazy.
yeah, that thump and
They always go crazy.
and yeah, like I'm not one to hate, and
No,
I don't even hate
not
that.
at all.
Even like it's just different,
Yeah.
and that might be what is popular right now. But it's definitely something that I think the rap and hip hop culture has got away from,
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm not a genius in any means when it comes to music, but I respect the stuff that has meaning. I respect the stuff that has content, and I respect the stuff that has, people are living what they're talking about.
Facts.
Because, just coming out and saying, I don't know, I listen to an array of music, and when I know these dudes aren't out here like in the streets, then it's hard for me to get
really
behind
out
it,
here.
right? So
Like, get out of here. You guys are like spreading this toxic like message through rap,
is.
and you're not even actually like rapping in the first place. So it's
Right,
like, what is
exactly.
going on here?
And the one, I love J. Cole,
Right.
and he's
J. Cole's a real one.
yeah, he's realer than most, but on his on the Middle Child song, how it's just talking, and I heard a talk show, and they were just talking about how they were upset at J. Cole because the couple lyrics are "Count me out, I'm loading my bullets," or whatnot. I mean, and that might be to him, and I don't think he meant it in that way by any means, because it's kind of like
I think
more
it's
of
like a metaphorical,
right,
like,
a motivational
rap,
thing. Like he's gonna, yeah, exactly, and that's how I take it. And this talk show is just kind of talking about how, that people are listening to that, and that just makes me think about the kids that are listening to like things like that song, and then like trying to embody that whole
right
thing, like get a gun and do like sell drugs and stuff.
Right.
And
I think it all comes down to like how you package it and how you're talking about it. Like in the 90s and 80s, it was like, oh, drug dealers, and then 2000s came and it was like,
but it was like drug dealers who had to sell drugs
right,
to get out the hood,
right, and they're talking about doing that. It's not like people nowadays, it's just like they're lazy. They don't even have to, maybe they don't even have to trap, but maybe they do.
Maybe
I don't know.
think it's
Either way,
cool,
they
right?
make it feel like it's really cool to do. Everybody wants to be America's trap star, but it's like nowadays it's a lot of people who are promoting like just being addicts.
Right.
Like I don't really think that's cool at all, because I mean, I'm not an angel out here, but for me to like, I don't really know. Like, people aren't really getting. I don't think the people who are usually listening to that music are getting the right message
Definitely
that they
not.
should. I think I will say, yeah, J. Cole has a good way of talking about things that other people talk about, but like painting a picture with them versus
Definitely.
just like
Definitely painting a picture.
Oh, I do drugs.
Sure.
I mean, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
That's cool. Do you, bro?
I guess, but if they don't have the common sense, or not even common sense, but just like empathetic side of them to understand that, if I'm up in the charts and people are listening to what I put out, people are listening.
Right.
Not little kids, but
There's absolutely kids listening.
right. Well,
They
yeah,
catch on to
even
everything.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that, and you're putting that message out there, and it's just like I said, I don't know. It is what it is. People
Right.
can do what they want and make the content however, but the ones that have the ability to realize that it is affecting people around them and changing their ways because of that are, going to be, and it's sad that they're not the most successful, but they're,
Right.
They're real to themselves. They're real to the world. So
And I think they are maybe possibly successful. It's just they're not broadcasted. They're not as famous. I think a lot of people equate fame and success the same nowadays, but like there's a lot of fake fame that's not real, and that's not paying your bills.
Like, and I hate to call out. Well, I'm not gonna do it. But basically, just people on Instagram who think that that's a job.
Yeah.
And they're like, or whatnot, you know? I mean,
man, Instagram.
It's just Instagram, social media in itself could be, you know, a whole hour topic. But yeah, I mean, a lot more could be said, but you have anything else that you really want to hit on?
This summer should be pretty cool. I'll probably be in motion a lot.
So tell us a little bit about, you know,
to make a move to New York City. Okay. So
permanently, like live.
Yeah, I'm basically just gonna see where I should be right now.
Right.
I'm gonna just like be there for the summer and see what's going on. I don't think Nebraska is where I should be right now in my career. I think it's a great place to come back to and visit. But as far as me taking my career to the next level, I think
not ideal. It's
time I go to a coast, whichever that be. But definitely gonna do that. I'll be dropping a lot more stuff. I have a song and video called Frizzy Fresh. Should be releasing in the next month. I also have a video by Simple Carl out of Omaha. He's a videographer. We have a song called My Own that's going to be coming out in the beginning of June. So I'll be a lot more active on YouTube and iTunes, Spotify.
And where can people, you know, drop some handles?
Spotify. I usually, if you search Keenan, Keenan, you can find me, but it's easier if you search a song 24/8 or Ego with my name. You'll definitely find me. You can find me on YouTube. I think my name is just, if you search simply Keenan, I think you'll find me. Otherwise, on Instagram, I'm simply one Keenan, the number one in Keenan. That's Twitter, Snapchat. Really just been on Instagram recently, just trying to focus and get stuff out to everybody. So,
well, I wish you luck in your future endeavors. I know you're gonna kill it. So, like I said, you're the perfect. I just couldn't think of a better guest to. In my head, I had this picture of, you know, this person who I would want to have this level of deepness to them, but this artistic side, and literally couldn't think of a better person. So I appreciate you being on. It definitely won't be the last time. So absolutely. For sure, we'll wrap there, and I appreciate it, bro.
Of course,
thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Coffee with Demons podcast. Don't forget to check out our website at www.coffeewithdemons.com for more information on the Coffee with Demons movement.